Hello Twin Flames and welcome to your week ahead energy forecast for your Twin Flame and for you. And our last card, as always, is the next steps that you can take in order to speed up the process of your harmonious Twin Flame union. So let's get started with your Twin Flames card and let's see what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what energies are coming up this week for your Twin Flame. And we have the Ace of Swords. So this is a card all about mental clarity, truth, and new beginnings when it comes to those elements. So swords are cutting away the illusions in your Twin Flame's life. Something is happening. They are entering a season of deeper truth and clarity. There's a big breakthrough here on your Twin Flame side. And this also feels like a deeper awakening on a mental level. Like your Twin Flame is starting to see your connection in a new light that they never were able to see before. I feel like with this new clarity, new truth come a lot of realizations and a lot of feelings. For example, realizing old mistakes, regrets, maybe even seeing the ways in which they have dishonored themselves and allowed other people's opinions to influence the situation between you in a way that wasn't really productive or good for either of you. Something else that's happening with your Twin Flame is that old defense mechanisms or stories they've been telling themselves are also falling apart so that higher truth can emerge in your Twin Flame's life. So some stories could be, them feeling that you're too good for them, for example, or feeling like something is always going to get in the way of your happiness together. Pretty much any limiting belief or maybe even excuse when it comes to ending separation between you. And when I say excuse, this doesn't necessarily have to be a conscious thing. It could be very much coming from past relationships or fears coming to the surface. Because meeting your Twin Flame and falling in love, that is a very intense experience. It brings all of these fears to the surface. And this happens in a way that you can't ignore. Unlike, for example, with a soulmate where you can just ignore those things and, you don't get triggered as much. It's not the same level of depth, and therefore a soulmate connection doesn't require that same level of transformation so that you're able to receive that depth. So this connection feels very, very intense for your Twin Flame. Maybe now they're realizing exactly why it feels so intense. But also maybe they might think this week that, hey, that was really stupid of me. Certain thoughts that I had, certain actions that I took, not cool. And, how am I going to grow from here? How do I learn? So something that's very important about your Twin Flame this week is that they're confronting their ego's stories about love, what their beliefs are, and you're also being invited to do the same. So keep that in mind this week, that this could be a theme for you as well, so that you too can reach new levels of truth and this energy can amplify in your union. Next up, we have your card, so let's see what's going to happen in your world this week. And we have Justice, so this is very interesting because we have another sword, actually. So really cool, I feel like you're also cutting the bullshit on your end. You have the scales of justice over here, people getting what they deserve. So this is very important about the Twin Flame journey. And something a lot of people might not realize is that you do receive the amount of effort that you put in. And at first, you need to put in a lot of effort to build the foundation, especially if you have a lot of limiting beliefs or traumas to work through. However, you do get the result that you are investing in. So if you're investing in fear and separation and excuses as to why you can't be together, that's what you're going to receive in the end, more separation. But if instead you've been focused on your inner work, you've been taking the right steps, you've been, loving yourself, working on your self-worth, letting go of the stories and the limiting beliefs, then again, union is what you're going to receive because that's what you're putting your energy into. And if you don't like what you're receiving from your Twin Flame, the Justice card reminds you that you have power here to change what it is that you want to receive by giving yourself. that thing. Something else that's important is to bring yourself back into your balance. Anything that feels like you've been overinvesting or underinvesting your time or your energy, it's important to bring a balance here. And also notice where control, impatience, or self-criticism are pulling you off your center. You're being asked to trust and to stand firm in your truth. Once again, the truth motif is following us. This is really good. And also, remember that you are fine-tuning your vibration so that the outer world can align with it. That's the process of coming into union with your twin flame. It's not waiting or, expecting your twin flame to change, because that will take a long time to happen, if ever, because if you're not changing, they're not changing. But instead, if you're investing in your inner work and healing and growing and learning the soul lessons that you're meant to be learning, that's what's going to lead to harmony within yourself, and inevitably, this harmony within yourself is what leads to harmony outside of yourself, with your twin flame, but also with other people in your life. Like, there can be harmony in every area of your life. You just need to build that foundation within first. And then you can attract, great friends, awesome job that you feel amazing in, relationships, people, events that really honor the divinity in you. So that's also something to keep in mind. This journey is not just about perfecting your love life, even though that's a big one, but it's about your life in general and feeling amazing in it. That's the core of the twin flame journey. Elevating your consciousness, feeling good, letting go of the wounded old you so that divine you can come forth and take the wheel. So last but not least, let's see next steps. What can you do this week in order to speed up the process of your harmonious twin flame union? And again, more swords. Oh my goodness. I swear I didn't even look at those when I was shuffling and pulling them. I had them face down, so I had no idea we would get all these swords, but it's fun. So, 10 of Swords. Again, swords are very mental, and specifically this card is all about pain and suffering. Specifically, your next step is to let go of the pain, let go of suffering. And that's a huge lesson on the twin flame journey, because we feel like it could be a very painful journey because all this stuff is coming to the surface. But the real reason why the pain is coming up is not so that you can suffer. The real reason is that you can release it. You can't release the pain unless you feel it first. And that's a good thing, because you're feeling that pain for the last time as you choose to release that. You never have to deal with it again. You never have to end up in the situations that cause that pain, because this is a journey of growth. So this card is telling us that the ego's thought structures are collapsing this week, and that is amazing news. And this is an active process. It's not something that just happens on its own. You really need to put in the work to let go of stories you've been telling yourself, such as, it's too late, it's over between me and my twin flame, they'll never change, they'll never choose me. And instead, add divine truth to that. Say no to the voice of ego. Instead, let yourself know that it's never too late. There's no such thing in divine truth. Doesn't matter if it's been years or seconds. And it's never over between you and your twin flame. Your twin flame changes as you do. And if they're showing certain behaviors now that you don't like, that's just part of the lesson that is leading you to your union. It's not an obstacle. It's a lesson to be mastered. And as soon as you master that, you never have to repeat it again. So this feels like a breaking point before a new beginning. That's very common with every spiritual awakening. And that's why in the tarot, which we're using this week as a change, because we usually do the oracle decks, we have the Tower before the Star card. And the Tower is all about, things breaking apart, and it's destruction, and it's crazy, and it looks chaotic, but it's leading to the Star, which is the card of hope, of faith, of a new beginning, renewed energy. So, keep in mind that your biggest challenges are what is going to lead to your biggest blessings. And I was actually sharing that story a couple of days ago, it might have been. Can't remember exactly where. But we were talking about facing a lot of deep pain and upset feelings on this journey, and whether that means that it's a sign of failure or not. And that took me back to the day before I entered my twin flame union. And that was the biggest upset I've ever had in my entire life, actually. It was so deep, it felt so raw, I can't even describe it with words, but it was really dark. The feelings that came up, the pain that came up, it felt so intense. And it wasn't anybody's fault or anything. It was just old pain that had been trapped and I wasn't aware of that I had to release. So I worked the process as usual. I did my inner work, did the mirror exercise, went on a walk, kept myself grounded, took care of myself as best as I could as I moved through that feeling. And then, a few years later, I was in union with my twin flame. So, that goes to show I'm sharing this because sometimes you think that, oh, this pain is so intense, it's the end of the world, it's the end of my journey, when in fact it's the beginning of something. But you can't step through the door to a new beginning if you're still carrying the old you, the old pain, the old beliefs. So this must go. And it's not a very pleasant or happy process. It hurts. You might say that it sucks, but it is what it is. And ultimately, it is for your highest good. So if you're going through many challenges right now, I want to encourage you to keep going because that's a sign that massive transformation is about to happen. So take heart, keep going. Remember that you are divine. This journey is divine. And after pain, there's always more joy and love for you at the end of the process. So this is all I had for you, my dear twin flames. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.